This is going to be an incredible evening, people, incredible evening. I want to tell you, we are full of surprises tonight, full of surprises already.
We can't solve it alone, not in our own R&D, not in our own companies. We're going to need partnerships and collaboration, and that's what excites me most.
In complexity and turbulence, there's always opportunity. And often the hardest thing to grapple with is, where is that opportunity, and how do I and the people that I influence, the organization that I participate in, change and grow and develop and get comfortable with ambiguity and perhaps making mistakes along the way.
Technology is an enabler, obviously, but our job is to put technology behind the scenes and let the human interaction tell the story.
We need to collaborate with schools, we need to collaborate with technology, we need to collaborate with food companies. Well, then that changes our whole economic model anyway, right? Because we tend to have silos in our companies, silos in our industries, and silos between industries. So how do we tilt the floor?
What drives me to collaborate is that when you have more people and more minds and more brilliance together, you can much more easily and a much better way get to what's possible. And what's possible is going to change the world and is going to change healthcare.
Well, unfortunately, we have a lot of areas that could benefit from collaboration because we have among the best and the worst healthcare in the world because it's not coordinated. But the area I'd focus on is outcomes that benefit patients and benefit the systems.
I've always believed that collaboration is the core to helping create improved health outcomes for patients, which is what we're all in this industry to help do. The challenge is that the incentives are misaligned, and there really needs to be a greater focus on the day-to-day activities that are going to align the incentives between the payer, the provider, the innovators such as pharmaceutical companies, but then needs to be blended with the era of interruption that's happening today, where we have different types of technologies coming in with different incentives to try and find ways to improve health outcomes. And I actually think the disruptors are actually winning the game because they're changing things and pivoting our consumers, who are our patients day in and day out on a daily basis. And quite frankly, they may not know healthcare, but they are the ones that are going to need to learn and learn fast to help us pull us through.
People are a little bit too tied to their own idea of intellectual property and what we have to protect, instead of thinking about how we can make much faster advances if we were able to kind of share that learning.
It takes about 10 years and almost close to $1 billion to get a drug out. Think about the airline industry. They spend $1 billion or more than $1 billion. The number of simulations that they do before they actually get a flight out, which is absolutely robust, even before 7 Sigma, is just phenomenal. Look at retail. They are far more advanced in using mobile technologies in retail compared to life sciences. So technology can make a big difference in terms of businesses across the value chain, be it R&D, commercial, supply chain.
What drives me to collaborate is really the idea of the possibility of what could be. And when you take a look at the possibilities, the connections that may not be obvious when you're just taking an initial pass at something, start to become obvious when you take a look at how you're going to get to the possibility. And for me, that's really what collaboration is centered around, finding something that you haven't yet arrived at.
I know with regard to collaboration for me, I really strongly promote collaboration because I think you get different solutions, and particularly if you work for a service company, the possibility of collaboration across a wide range of capabilities can really help the customer really kind of focus on the solutions they need for their product life cycle. And so I think collaboration is vital in the service sector as well as with, throughout the life science industry.
The beautiful thing about collaboration is you get a variety of opinions, you get a variety of ideas, people that think differently than I do, that approach things differently than I do. And usually when you come out of a collaboration, you get a better idea, you get a better solution because you've had much greater input.
What we really came up with together, because we collaborated, is I kind of came from the agency side, Rick from the sales side. We put those two businesses together. We actually started to transform the industry in many ways in the way that we approached clients. Remember when marketing and sales never talked to each other? We found ways to bring that together.
Because Nick and I think very, very differently on many, many things, and that different thinking and that collaboration really resulted in fantastic success in the business that he referenced.
Collaborate makes a difference.
Makes a huge difference.
I think the interesting thing about collaboration is it's about possibilities, and everyone brings possibilities to the core question that someone's being asked. And you can't imagine what they know until you begin to collaborate. And actually that's the most important part of our jigsaw here, is that we all bring pieces, and it's only when we get together that we can share those pieces and find out what the possibilities then go on to create. So I think the more collaboration investigates what people know or might know, and we start bringing answers to interesting questions, I think that's where collaboration starts to become more potent.
I think in general, life sciences can do a heck of more collaboration across all aspects. If you start with clinical trials and looking at some of the rare diseases and specialty areas, more collaboration, different combinations will certainly impact patient care. And that's really critically important when we're dealing with these really sick and debilitated patients with complex diseases. The other part is on the services side. Manufacturers looking at how we wrap around services and make sure that's done in a collaborative fashion, always keeping the patient journey at mind, top of mind, because that's going to be really important in impacting what the patient's impact of the therapy is, from the beginning to the end.
What drives me to collaborate is the moment when I became a patient. Not just a patient, I was told I wasn't going to make it. And there's something about that conversation that happens late at night in your hospital bed when you don't know if you're going to wake up the next day that changes you. And certainly changed me. I realized that if we're going to change this system so it can be just as advanced, just as productive, just as sexy as all of those other industries out there that gain all the press and the money and the attention, that we have to come together and we have to be focused on a mission that's so big and it's so important that it touches each one of us.